Welcome back, everyone. Practice test number 7, part 2 here. We're finishing off module 1 of the math section. We're going to dive straight into it today, starting with question 18 over here. We're going up to question 27, as there's 27 in the module. The function f of t is equal to 40,000 times 2 to the t over 790. Gives the number of bacteria in a population t minutes after an initial observation. How much time in minutes does it take for the number of bacteria in the population to double? So looking at this equation, we know that the population is going to double when we have 40,000 times 2. And the way we get 40,000 times 2 is by having 2 to the power of 1. We know that the initial population is 40,000 because at time t equals 0, we have a value of 2 to the 0. This is equal to 1, so our population is 40,000. That means it will double when it's 80,000. And to get 80,000, we need 2 to the power of 1. So t over 790 must equal 1. So t must equal 790. And that is answer choice B. Looking at this second problem, we have the given equation relates the variables n, t, and w, where n is greater than 0, t is greater than 0, and w is greater than t. Which expression is equivalent to n? So we're going to move our unwanted variables to the other side. I'm actually going to write this like this, so it's going to be 2 over t minus 2 over w. Now we make a common denominator by multiplying everything on this side by t and multiplying everything on this side by w. So we get 2w minus 2t over wt. And now what we need to do is we're going to factor out a 2. It's a little messy, sorry. Over wt. And now what we're going to do is move our n to this side by multiplying. So we get 12 is equal to 2w minus t times n all over wt. And now to isolate n, what we want to do is move everything besides n to this side. So what we're going to do is multiply both sides by wt over 2 minus wt. Because if you see, this will cancel out here and that will cancel out there. So we're going to do the same thing to this side. And this will give you 12wt over 2w minus t is equal to n. So that's going to be your answer. If we look at our answer choices, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and then wait, this doesn't match up either. What we need to do is simplify. So we know 12 divided by 2 is equal to 6, so 6wt over w minus t. And now we look at our answers. This is equivalent because if you flip around your variables, it's the same deal. So answer choice D is correct there. Question 20. During a study, the temperature in degrees Celsius of the air in the chamber was recorded to the nearest integer at certain times. The scattered plot shows the recorded temperature Y in degrees Celsius of the air in the chamber X minutes after the start of the study. What was the average rate of change in degrees Celsius per minute of the recorded temperature of the air in the chamber from x equals 5 to x equals 7? Okay, so looking at this, x equals 5 is here, and x equals 7 is there. We want to find the average rate of change, so the line, slope of the line connecting the points. First, let's find the points themselves. So we have 7, 24 as our first point. And as our second point, we have 5, 14. So considering this, we can find our slope by saying y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is equal to 24 minus 14 over 7 minus 5. and this is going to be equal to 10 over 2, which is equal to 5, and this is the answer, the average rate of change. Question 21, in August, a car dealer completed 15 more than 3 times the number of sales the car dealer completed in September. In August and September, the car dealer completed 363 sales. How many sales did the car dealer complete in September? Okay, so we know that in August plus September, there were a total of 363 sales. August represents, or A represents August, S represents September in this context. And now we need to build our other equation to make a system of equations we can manipulate to solve for a variable. We're going to make our second equation as this first part over here. In August, a car dealer completed, so in August, a car dealer completed 15 more than 3 times the number of sales completed in September. So 15 more than 3 times the number of sales in September. So now we have our system of equations. I'm going to align them up so it's easier to manipulate. I'm going to put our equal signs together, or one under each other. So now, if we subtract this whole equation from the first one, these cancel out, and we get S is equal to 363 minus 15. Remember, you could always allow to use your calculator. 363 minus 15 is going to give you 348 minus 3S, and you get 4S is equal to 348. Divide both sides by 4, and that gives you 87. And that's going to be your answer for how many car sales there were in September. Point Q and R lie on a circle with center P. The radius of the circle is 9 inches. The triangle PQR has a perimeter of 31 inches. What is the length in inches of QR? So we're going to draw our circle right here. Always draw these problems out. You have your center P, and then you have a point Q and R. I'm going to connect these. And you know that the perimeter is 31, and this is going to be equal to side 1, side 2, side 3. So this is going to be equal to 31 is equal to S1 and S2 are equal because they're both the radius. So you're going to have R plus side 3. And we know that the R is equal, or the radius is equal to 9. So we have 18 is equal to 31 plus S, this third side. So the third side is going to be equal to 13. And that is your answer. Next question, in a set of 4 consecutive odd integers where the integers are ordered from least to greatest, the first integer is represented by x. The product of 12 and the fourth odd integer is at most 26 less than the sum of the first and third odd integers. Which inequality represents this situation? So this is a very wordy problem. However, if you take it step by step, it's not too much. So what it's saying when it says 4 consecutive odd integers, remember, let's say the first one is 1, and then from there it says consecutive odd, so the next would be 3, the next would be 5, and the next would be 7. So, considering this, we know that it's asking for the first integer is represented by x. So, let's say 1 is x, then that means the second one would be x plus 2, the third one would be x plus 4, and the fourth would be x plus 6. Now looking at the situation, it says the product of 12 and the fourth integer is at most 26 less than the sum of the first and third odd integers. So the product of 12 and the fourth odd integer, which is here, is at most, so that means less than or equal to, and then it says 26 less than the sum of the first and third odd integers. So we know the first and the third and then it says 26 less than. So looking at this, you may have arranged it differently on your own when you make it, but if you look at your answer choices, it will match up with answer choice A. This is greater than, this is greater than, so you can eliminate these off the bat. It is a very difficult problem, but this doesn't really make sense here either, because if you go by the process of elimination method instead of constructing the equation by yourself, an odd integer plus an odd integer is always going to be an even integer. So this will never make sense. So C can never be correct either. But if you, I feel like the easiest method of solving this problem is the way I did it here. It's the easiest way to visualize it conceptually. We're going to move on to the next one. The table shows three values of x and their corresponding values of y, where s is a constant. There's a linear relationship between x and y. Which of the following equations represents this relationship? Okay, so we have an equation in standard form, not y equals mx plus b form, but we're going to solve this table for its slope and its y-intercept, and then we can convert it to standard form later. So we know m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and this is going to be equal to, we'll call this y2, this x2, this y1, this x1, so we get 24 minus 21 over negative 2s minus negative s, and this is going to give you 3 over negative s, so you have y is equal to negative 3 over s plus b. You're going to plug in these points. S and 15, so you get 15 is equal to negative 3 over s. Sorry, when I wrote the equation up here, I meant to write x as well. So you get negative 3 over s times s plus b, so you get 15 is equal to negative 3 plus b, 18 is equal to b. That's not what it's looking for though. We're going to write our whole equation out again. Now, this is not in the same form. This is y equals mx plus b form, slope form. These are in standard form, so we're going to manipulate our equation. Before we manipulate our equation, we need to realize what x is in our answer choices. There are no s's in the denominator in any of our answer choices, so we're going to multiply our whole equation here by s. So we get sy is equal to negative 3x plus 18s. We're going to move the x over to the side. We get 3x plus sy is equal to 18s. Looking at our answer choices, this is going to match up with not C, B, 3x, sy, 18s. That's going to be your answer. Looking at this next problem, which of the following expressions is equivalent to sine of 24 degrees, cosine of 66 degrees, plus cosine of 24 degrees, sine of 66 degrees? This question relies on your knowledge of one formula, and that is that sine of A is equal to cosine of 90 minus A, and cosine of, let's say, B is equal to sine of 90 minus B. Okay, so we are going to solve this now. If we know that sine of 24 degrees times cosine of 66 degrees is going to be equal to, well, we know that sine of 24 degrees is equal to cosine of 90 minus 24, which is equal to cosine of 66 degrees. So if that's equal to 66 degrees, and this is cosine of 66 degrees, we know that this is cosine of 66 degrees squared. And now we're going to do the same for the other side. We know that sine of 66 degrees is equal to cosine of 90 minus 66, which is cosine 24 degrees. So we know that this is going to be cosine of 24. Sorry, this is getting a little messy. Cosine 24 degrees squared. So we know that our answer is going to be cosine of 66 degrees squared plus cosine 24 degrees squared. I didn't write cosine of 24 times cosine of 24 here just because it's the same as squared. And if we look at our answer choices, this is going to match up with answer choice C. Okay. So a little tricky, but as long as you know the formulas here, you'll be good to go. Number 26, the cost of renting a carpet cleaner is $52 for the first day and $26 for each additional day. Which of the following functions gives the cost C of D in dollars of renting the carpet cleaner for D days where D is a positive integer? So we know that C of D is equal to 52 for the first day plus 26 for each additional day. So instead of 26D, which most people will instinctively write D minus 1 because it's for each additional day, not every day plus a startup fee. It's 52 for the first day, $26 for every day after that. So this will give you 52 plus 26D minus 26. D plus 26. This is going to be your answer. That aligns with answer choice A. Just make sure you get this part right here. Most important, you're starting on the second day. For every day, you're adding $26, not the first day. So that's why it's D minus 1. Over here, question 27, the last question of the day. The function f is defined by the given equation. For what value of x does f of x reach its minimum? So we're going to write this in a form that's distributed out. Standard form. This gives you negative 30. So f of x is equal to x squared plus 13x minus 30. Now, we're looking for the x value where f of x reaches its minimum. So you can rely on graphing technology to do this for you since you're allowed Desmos in the test. The fastest way to do this would be to put it in Desmos and then trace where it's its minimum value and see where the x point is at that minimum. However, I'm going to show you how to do this by hand for purposes that may benefit you when you run into a situation where you need to do it by hand. So, looking at this problem, we want to change it to the format a of x minus h squared plus k. So, what we're going to do is we know that A is 1, B is 13, and C is negative 30. If you don't know how to do that, watch my other videos. I'll teach you more in depth. So we're going to complete the square to figure out this part over here, x minus h squared. Completing the square is going to be by taking b, dividing it by 2, and that's going to give you 13 over 2. So we're going to put that within the x plus 13 over 2 squared, and then we have to add k. In this situation, k is going to be 13 over, it's going to be negative 30, but we have to consider that when we distribute this, we're going to get another value in addition to that, and that value is going to be 169 over 4. So we have to subtract this from the outside as well. Otherwise, we are not balancing the equation. So this is gonna be your new equation right here. I'm not simplifying the k value just because it's not asking for the minimum, it's asking for the x value where the minimum occurs. So remember that f of x, which is equal to a x minus h squared plus k, the center of, or where the vertex is at point h comma k. And if we look here, our h comma k is going to be negative 13 over 2, and then whatever this value of k is, I'm not solving for it because it doesn't ask for it, and that's going to be your value. If this process seemed a little tedious or you lost like track on any part of it, you can take the shortcut of finding the vertex with the form x is equal to negative b over 2a. So right after you distributed the problem here, not there, sorry, here, you know that your b is 13, so you could have just done negative 13 over 2. You know your a is 1, so times 1 is equal to negative 13 over 2. So that's a shortcut, but it's very helpful to know how to do the whole process and problems that force you to do it. And yeah, we're going to stop here for this video. I hope this helped, and I'll see you on the next episode to start on Module 2 of the math. It's a harder section, so make sure you show up, watch the video, and I'll see you then.